This Barry, and you're watching Barry in the PI. It's a nice sunny day, not many clouds in the sky. Uh, but as always, we've got that nice cool breeze coming through here. Without the breeze, it might get pretty hot. A lot of vloggers have been talking about whether you should invite your Filipino to come to the U.S. or to whatever country you're from. I'm going to tell you my experience. You see behind me that Maida's come home to take care of the dogs, feed them, and she'll go back to hello. She'll go back to the liquor store. Our experiences was that when I left the Philippines and went back, I ended up going back to Arizona to the Navajo Indian Reservation where I'd taught before. And I immediately began the process of getting her visa to come over to the USA. And so it took a little while to get it processed. She had to go through an interview with the U.S. Embassy in Manila, and she had to have a physical checkup, and she passed all of that. She said the test that they gave her at the embassy wasn't that difficult. She had studied for it. And her interview went well, and eventually she got her visa to come there, and she flew to Arizona, to Phoenix, Arizona, on the Christmas Eve of 2005 or 6, yeah. She wanted to come, and I was more than happy to have her with me there. So I had no problems with her coming to the USA. Now, being on the Navajo Indian Reservation, no jobs for her unless she's a teacher or a nurse. Everybody that gets hired you got to be a Native American, a Navajo, and so she didn't have her green card yet. You had to be there a year before you can get the green card. So she wasn't able to work at that time. So when I went to school, she would stay at home, and she started drawing stuff. And she showed it to me and said, "Damn, you're pretty good at this." So one weekend we went to one of the bigger cities around outside the reservation, and bought some art supplies for her. And she continued doing artwork while I was at work. After a little over a year, I decided that I'm ready to retire at the end of the school year, at least retire from teaching. Now, one of the things I've always done, I wanted to get a job with as a park ranger with one of the national parks. So towards the end of the semester, I started uh, sitting in my resume. I put it out there on the site, and the first offer I got was a park ranger at Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge in Virginia. And it was a year-long contract as a GS7 park ranger. And I accepted that. I got two more offers that came in. One is Guadalupe Mountains National Park in the northern border between Texas and New Mexico. I've been there a couple of times, and so I knew about it. And he had wanted me to do a survey of all the plants on the park. And another one came from the place that's most deep in my heart, Big Bend National Park, as a seasonal park ranger. That was hard to turn down. So I told them I've already accepted one with the Fish and Wildlife Service. So at the end of the school year, we loaded up our stuff into a U-Haul and took off for Virginia. I got to see quite a bit of the United States on that trip, because we went through Texas, Arkansas, I think both the Carolinas and Virginia to get there. And when we arrived there, I reported for duty. My boss, she went with me, and my boss gave us a tour around the wildlife refuge. And a couple of bald eagles flew over our head, circled over our head, welcoming me to Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge. And Mida turned to me and said, "I think you're going to like this job." Yeah, I really liked it. It was a great job, best job I ever had, I think. And I finished out my contract there that 1 year. But during that time, Mida got her green card. We had to drive all the way to Norfolk, Virginia. So we had to go all that Chesapeake Peninsula to get there. And so she finally got her green card. So then, I'd been trying to teach her how to drive. Oh God, what an experience. I decided I'm going to send her to a driving school and let them deal with that. But she got it eventually, and first she got her learner's permit. And then back in Texas, then she got her Texas driver's license. After we moved back, after my time here in Virginia, we moved back to Texas, to Austin, Texas, my hometown. I grew up there and loved the city. Mida did too. I think that's where we got our first barbecue, real Texas barbecue. And she loved that. So Meanwhile, back in Virginia, she had got a job at a medical equipment uh, factory, and she was the one that would ship the products out. And they really liked her. They thought she was a great worker, a quick learner, and they had to see her. I said, honey, see if you can get a job that you don't have to drive so far, because she had to drive on into Maryland. And so she got a job with the largest hotel on Chincoteague Island, and she did the laundry for them. And she got along with, they hired every tourist season, they bring in over girls from Russia to work as a hotel room attendants, clean rooms and stuff. And so she got to meet a bunch of Russian girls, and they got along real well with them. And then when we went back to Texas, I think she worked for, I think she worked for Walmart in the delicatessen part of Walmart. They liked her real well too, but she didn't stay that long. Walmart's not a good company to work for, if you ask me. Meanwhile, she had entered the nursing program at Austin Community College, and she was going to start to see about becoming a nurse. So first two classes she had to take was English proficiency class, and then she had to do math class, algebra, and she didn't do really well with that. She dropped out of that one after a while. She said she's not good at math. I see arithmetic she's fine, but not higher level algebra. Nah, she's beyond her. And she had also gotten a nursing aid certificate, and she got hired by a large assisted living center out by Lake Travis, which was good because my brother had offered me a job as a property manager for his lake house. You know, not just a lake house, this is about a $5 million house on the lake. And which he visits maybe 3 or 4 times a year during football season. So what I had to do is go out a couple of times a week usually, and make sure everything is working, everything's done, all the lights are working, because a lot of his friends and his son and daughter would come up there for the weekend, spend there, and so he, my job is to make sure everything's working. I only worked a couple hours, we do 4 or 5 hours a week. And then he had a housekeeper that came in once a week, supposed to take care of it, and he found out she hadn't changed the sheets on his bed from the last time he slept in it. school there. And so he fired her and hired Maida to be his housekeeper. And she would just go with me with 2 or 3 hours, or 4 hours a week or something, and do all the cleaning and stuff, change the sheets and stuff. And so she was working at this place near Lake Travis as a nursing aide. And they raved about how good a worker Maida was. And the patients all loved her. And, meanwhile, she had also gone and got her medication aid certificate. It's a little bit easier job, but requires a little bit more mentally. And they didn't have an open position at that. And meanwhile, we had moved into Austin, and it was a long, long drive for her to go out there every day. So we found one in the biggest assisted living center in Austin, and they hired her. And, she did very well there. They ended up making her a mentor, extra bucks. And anytime they hire a new nursing aide, they would follow Maida around, and Maida would show them how to do stuff, things like that. And she kept getting raises every year. They also had a Christmas bonus program that all the residents, they put money in to give to the employees. So she'd have a nice little check right before Christmas. So she did very well in the U.S. When she first moved there, one of the things I did was took her camping, tent camping, and go to the national parks, and they're all around out in Arizona and Utah, including Grand Canyon. I took Maida when she first came. We had a few days off during the Christmas break, and so I took her to the Grand Canyon when snow was out there, covered in snow. Beautiful scenery, and she just loved it. And she led along my good friend, my Navajo buddy, my brother, Bob Cassini. She got along with him and his family, and they're still good friends of ours. Bob's very recently retired from teaching, from guidance counselor. Everywhere she's gone, she's able to make friends. A lot of Asian women work in these nursing homes and assisted living homes. Like at Chincoteague, we found out there were several Filipinos lived there, including the doctor in the local clinic, Dr. Go. And so she got in with that group of Filipinos, and they were always having get-togethers with food and drink and stuff. And she did very well. I made really good friends that she still keeps in contact with. So my experience always positive. Uh, might have liked it there, uh, and but she missed the Philippines, and I did too. I told her at the beginning, from the beginning, that if she wants to move, us to move back there, I'm willing to move back there. And that's what we did. She finally said, "Are you still ready to move to the Philippines?" I said, "Yep." And so we sold our house, because Austin's one of the fastest growing cities and a very popular city. We sold our house within 3 weeks and made a pretty good profit off of it. And so I say yes. A lot of Filipinos dream of going to the U.S. And seeing all of the things that the U.S. has to offer. So you'll be making your Filipina happy to at least take her there and spend some time there. Even if you're going to live here in the Philippines, let her go. Let her take her and show her the places that she wants to see. And I recommend the Grand Canyon to be definitely one. So that's about it. That's a little longer video today. I'm happy we're here. I couldn't have better family and friends than the ones that I have here. And I do hope some of you expats will come by and we'll have a few beers or some bourbon if you'd like me. And glad to have you come and visit. As I say, if you're staying some other place, you can stay in the second bedroom, no cost. Just we'd like to have people back from another country come and visit us. So, well, that's about it. I hope y'all enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe and like this video. That helps me on the logistics or whatever they had to do of YouTube. Hey. No, settle down. No, it's better to sit. Oh. Dogs. You gotta love them. So take care, stay safe, get your vaccines, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Oh, subscribing and liking doesn't cost you a penny. And I'm here to entertain you. All right, y'all take care.